What's up, YouTube? It's Jonathan Dark here, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. I want to say that I will be canceling the Persona 3 series for now. I'm sorry if there are people looking forward to it or whatnot. I can't find the motivation or like the energy to record, or most of the time even, record a live com of a JRPG of that length and size. So again, I do apologize to those looking forward to Persona 3, but I still want to do a live com JRPG for you guys. And so we are actually going to be playing Final Fantasy 1 on the PlayStation 1. This is through the Final Fantasy Origins, like, remaster duo pack thing. I'm playing it on the PS3. So that's how that's going. And we're filming it the same way Persona 3 was, so, you know, nothing special there. And in terms of a run, this is going to be a fairly standard run. I'll talk more about what I mean for those of you that haven't played Final Fantasy 1. You'll learn more about what I mean by a standard run once we actually reach the game. But for now, here is the CG opening added in the PS1 version. This game was originally released for the Nintendo Entertainment System back in, like, the 80s, I believe. The 80s in Japan. I think it was 1990 in America for the NES. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. Actually, not. I think it's fine where it is. This is also the same CG cutscene used in the PSP version. The GBA version obviously didn't have a CG cutscene. So, I'm going to look at something from an NES release date. Fun fact, before this Let's Play, I've beaten this game a total of 3 times. 2 on the PSP version and 1 on the GBA version. I have gotten about halfway through the NES version and stopped just because I had other things to do at the time. But, according to my search results, Final Fantasy 1 was released on December 18th, 1987 in Japan. And wow, it's available on a lot of platforms like the PS1, Android, Game Boy Advance, PlayStation Portable, the WonderSwan Color, Windows Phone, Nintendo 3DS, iOS, and MSX. Off the top of my head, I think the 3DS version is a Japanese-only port of the PSP version. So anyways, without a further ado, let's get this thing rocking. Alright, so new game. We're going to be playing on normal difficulty. This is actually the only version of the game here in America that actually has a difficulty setting. And, so what I mean by a standard run is, as you can see, if we select our character here, we can choose their class. You can have, you got your 4 characters, and the classes you have to choose from are Warrior, Thief, Red Mage, Monk, White Mage, Black Mage. So Warrior is just, he's really good at using weapons. The Thief, he's good at stealing shit. You got, actually, Agile Rogues with nimble fingers and precise attacks. You've got the Monk, who is, he just beats the shit out of people. Red Mage, is pretty good at melee attacks and can cast both types of magic, but later on in the game he can't use some of the more powerful spells that these two get access to, and White Mages are, healing and protection magic and, abilities to hurt the undead, and Black Mage is just full-out offensive magic. And as far as I'm aware, you can also buff your party with this character and buff their defenses with this character. So for the setup, we're going to do a fairly traditional run. We're going to have a Warrior, Thief, White Mage, and Black Mage, as that is the setup I'm most comfortable with. If you guys want to see me do a challenge run with a specific setup for a class, go ahead, tell me, and I will do my best to finish the game with that kind of setup. But without further ado, we're going to name our characters. Obviously, I'm going to use some of my my friends' names, if I can find the... Okay. I'm not really used to the text interface in the PS1 version. This is actually the version of the game I've played the least, right next to the NES version. I've also never played the WonderSwan version, but I don't really know, like, how different it is from the others. So, Hey, Zelda. Cat, go. Go over there. Sorry, kitty. Who do I want this one to be? My boy Evan. Okay, the White Mage can be Yo, Josh. And then, for the Black Mage, it's gonna be me. I really like offensive magic. So, there I am. Alright, so here is our team. Let's get started. Yes. So, as far as the difference between difficulty modes, you know, easy mode's probably piss easy. So, welcome to the game. We're just going to get tossed straight into the overworld. So, I want to go over something real quick. As you can see, there's a bunch of numbers underneath the HP where the MP is. This game has the same magic system as Final Fantasies 1 and 3 on the NES. 3 being the Japanese 3, not the American 3, which was 6, where you have multiple levels of magic, and you get a certain number of casts for each level. It's, think of Dungeons and Dragons, basically, is how Pro Jared described it in his Let's Play. So think Dungeons and Dragons where you have a certain amount of spell slots per spell level, and you can only use a certain amount per day. Anyways, we have nothing, but we have a good chunk of change with us, so we're going to go into town. We're going to buy some equipment. I'm not going to lie, it actually feels really good to play this, to give this game another shot again on YouTube, because a while back I tried to play through this game, but during that summer I ran into a lot of emotional and technical problems that I just couldn't do it. So we're going to do this. Small knife, 5 attack. Okay, so I can have both the hammer and the rapier in here, so I'm going to give the rapier to the warrior, so we'll do that. I'll give the hammer to the white mage. I guess I can give the rapier to my thief. That's 5, that's 6. Staff can go to my black mage. Cool. Alright. And unlike in Final Fantasy 1 in the NES, you have, you know, you have better, I guess, better equipment management. It's a lot simpler, and, like, you know, it's not where one person can only have, like, 4 items, like 4 weapons and 4 armors. Pieces of armor, I should say. Speaking of armor, let's go get us some. Alright, chainmail, 15, so that's going to go to the warrior. We're going to buy this for the thief. And we're going to buy 2 of these for our mages. Yeah. Your mages, generally, will not have a lot of defense or HP, so, you know what? Okay, we got everyone equipped with some armor. Alright, now, the last thing we need to buy before actually progressing the story is we need some magic. Alright, let's head into the shop. So if I remember correctly, we have level 1 magic here in Corneria. So we're going to grab... So Cure 1 is just, you know, it's a healing spell. Goes for our white mage. Dia, this is not Shin Megami Tensei. Dia does not heal. Dia damages undead enemies. And we're going to grab shield... Oh, I don't actually have enough money. Oh, no, I didn't grab any offensive magic. For the... Oh, crap. Okay, that's right. That's right. I am dumb. Alright, well, we're gonna be doing some grinding anyways. So, and in terms of cutting stuff out, this is gonna be like an endurance run type of Let's Play where I won't be cutting stuff out, and I will be grinding, but if I have to do a large amount of grinding, like I'm talking like I need to save up 40,000 gil, I won't record it, but if I'm doing what I'm about to do, and it's just saving up a couple hundred and maybe getting a few more levels, I will keep it in. So long as I can keep the conversation going. If I feel myself faltering, then I'll make a note to myself to, like, cut it out later. Anyways, we gotta go to Castle Cornelia. Our king is searching for the Light Warriors. Wait, can you be? Please, go see His Majesty at once. You can't, once you enter Cornelia, you can't actually leave until you see the king. Travelers, is it true that you are the crystal bearers? Shows off these, like, there are crystals here, but yeah, they're just crystals. The prophecy says, when darkness fails the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. But your majesty, we have no proof that these 4 are the true light warriors. Surely it is not coincidence that 4 warriors bearing crystals have appeared now. Someone rushes in the room. Sir, we just found 4 naked bodies littered throughout the forest surrounding Cornelia. Brave ones, I need your help. Please rescue my daughter, Sarah. Garland, once a knight in His Majesty's service, has abducted Princess Sarah. We have learned that he is in the Temple of Chaos, north of Cornelia. We attempted to rescue the princess, but his powers far surpassed ours. Rip in pieces, dude. Perhaps you wish to cross the bridge, the Northern Strait? To cross the Northern Strait. The bridge that once spanned it was lost long ago. If you bring my daughter back safely, our Build a new bridge. I am counting it. Alright, so we have our first goal, quest, objective thing. Now, Castle Cornelia has some extras in it. I'm gonna go look around real quick. Not sure if we can grab them yet. Okay. But there are some chests in the game that are sealed by this mystic key. You get the mystic key later in the story. So once you get the mystic key, you can backtrack to a bunch of earlier areas for some optional goodies, which I'd highly recommend because more treasure is never a bad thing. Okay, hold on. Oh, I remember now. Yeah, that's right. You can actually circle around without actually leaving the castle. And you know, so Final Fantasy 1, in my opinion, I'll talk more about this as the game goes on. It's not a bad game. I don't think it's the best RPG. Like, it's certainly not as good as it used to be. But it's not a bad game. Like, it's definitely one of the slower RPGs, because it was one of the first, in terms of, like, the JRPG gameplay style. I think this was actually the second one. I can't remember which came out first, Dragon Warrior or Final Fantasy. I actually think Dragon Warrior came out in America, like before Final Fantasy came out in America, but I don't exactly remember that well. You guys can fact check me if you want and tell me in the description or on Lay Twatters. Anyways, okay, so the two doors in the castle were sealed by the Mystic Key, as I suspected. So we were actually going to waltz on out of here. And we're going to head into the overworld, doing us a little bit of grinding. Now, my dumbass failed to buy any magic for my Black Mage, so that's going to make things a little more annoying. But I want to say something right now about saving. I don't know about the Wonder Swan version of the game, but in the PS1 version and NES version, in order to save your game, you must either use a tent, cottage, house, or sleep at an inn. So this is going to make things a little tricky later on, but nothing too terrible for now. But alright. So, yeah, Final Fantasy 1, it's a JRPG, you take it in turns to hit each other. It's fairly standard affair if this isn't your first JRPG, which, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't really recommend this as your first. Mostly because, if you had played this back when it came out, you would have been like, man, JRPGs are awesome, but if you play this as your first one today, you're gonna go like, I'm not so sure. Mostly because it's not really a fair representation of the entire genre, or of the subsection of the genre that is JRPGs. But mechanically, I don't think it's like a terrible game. I actually think it's fun for me. I enjoy it. Because I remember when I had my PSP, I'd always wanted to play the first Final Fantasy, like all the way through, and I tried to on the NES. I fucking tried to, but I couldn't. Personally, I couldn't deal with like the translation or the whole. If you hit like let's say you have two people target an enemy, one person kills the enemy, and the other person attacks, they'll miss their attack. They'll attack a non-existent target. And I found that to be kind of annoying, so I never ended up finishing the game. Got it on the PSP, finished it just fine, because the PSP version, all the improvements made in the PS1 and, as I assume, Wonder Swan GBA versions, they're all in the PSP version with just better graphics. Which Final Fantasy 1 on the PS1, and GBA for that matter, isn't an ugly game. The sprites are defined, and animations are clear enough, and the music sounds pretty freaking good, in my opinion, as well. Especially the battle theme. I love Final Fantasy 1's battle theme. It's really, really good. So I need about 200... at least 230 gil, so I can sleep at the inn and buy some magic spells for my characters. Okay. Jesus. Evan's getting kind of low on health, but he'll be fine. My first time actually playing the first Final Fantasy, I kept trying to do fights before I actually went and bought gear, and I spent like a good 20 minutes dying because I was like, oh, what can I kill these enemies? You don't have any gear, my friend. Which was a tad bit embarrassing when I found out, but it's all good. Though, unlike Pro Jared, I actually remembered, okay, now that you've bought it, you still got to equip it. And again, this wasn't my first JRPG, so... Funnily enough, my first JRPG was Final Fantasy V for the GBA. I don't think it's a bad game. It's a freaking amazing game, and I love it to death. Flaws included. But, it's not it's not that it's a bad game that is a bad representation of the JRPG like gameplay style, but if you're not exactly used to JRPGs or like the Final Fantasy job system, which I don't think you need to be used to the Final Fantasy job system to play 5, but if you've never played a JRPG or like you've never been that good at them, 5 isn't that great of a starting point because it's kind of a hard game, like only a little bit, and it requires like good team composition. But maybe I'm just wrong and I'm just being a dumb idiot. I was just never good at the game. But my first time playing Final Fantasy V, I started the game with a party of nothing but knights. I got to the ship graveyard, and once I got past that, I couldn't make any progress in the game. Everything would just kill me. So I restarted the game, because it was a used game that one of my friends had given me. So I restarted the game, and I looked at some of the save files, and they all had different, they had different classes on their, like different jobs on their party members. So I set up, I had a melee guy, I had, a thief, I basically had a Final Fantasy 1 party, like what I'm using here. I had a melee guy, I had a thief, and I had 2 mages, black and white, and that worked for a while. So, yeah. But alright, so now that we've gotten a offensive spell for our black mage, once we hit... actually, let me go check the price of some consumable items before I get out of my way! Move! Warriors of Light! Alright, what do we got here? Okay, so sleeping bags are 75. That's probably what I'm gonna want to get. So what we're gonna do, is let me check our levels. We're all still level 1 each. Okay, we're gonna move up the world a little bit so we can fight some tougher enemies. Level up a little faster. We're gonna get to level 3. Rest. We're gonna buy at least 2 sleeping bags. And then we're going to head up to the Chaos Shrine, which is all the way at the northern part of this, little starting section. So, but, I think for the grinding I'm about to do, I might, for a couple of minutes, come up here and then, do some battles so you guys can see the enemies. But after that, I might just end the video and then do the rest of the grinding off screen, and then come back and go up to the Chaos Shrine. Because I want to keep most of the grinding in, because I feel like I can keep, I feel like I have enough to talk about with the Final Fantasy series in general, and just this game and my history with it and all this other stuff. So I feel like I can keep the conversation going well enough, which is a good thing. But I think there's a limit, and I'm gonna try and not I'm gonna try and not cross the line. So, but if you guys don't like having all the grinding in the world in there, maybe tone it back a little bit or just remove it completely, tell me and I will do my best. About right here is where you can start encountering some more challenging enemies, or enemies that'll give you just more stuff. These 4 goblins are not bad. But, in terms of how the battle system actually works, as you can probably see, you choose everyone's actions, their target, and then you watch the events play out. And I'm gonna try and test right here, but I don't... Yeah, there's not a way... Well, then got another turn. Ooh, that's freaking strong levels. Yeah, the first level up is usually super strong in terms of stat gains, like HP, and other stuff. But now that we've hit level 2, we get 1... our mages get 1 magic point. They basically get 1 level 2 spell slot and 1 extra level 1 spell slot. I think I'm going a little bit. In terms of difficulty, Final Fantasy 1 isn't that hard. It's just, I think it pads itself because you don't want to not upgrade at least your spells. I think for the most part, if you play your cards right, you don't need to upgrade your equipment every time you reach a new town. It's recommended, but you don't have to. And I think the game pads itself out a little bit too hard. Okay. This is a crazy horse. He's not too difficult of an enemy. He can hit kind of hard though, so be careful. But I'm sure, you know, if you're not level 1 and you have like fire, like